and the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee, the Anishinaabe, and the Huron-Wendat. We have the great opportunity to work in this community, and we are grateful for it. I didn't hear that. All right, this film is eligible for the, this is very important. This film is eligible for the Grosh People's Choice Midnight Madness Award. 1 of 10 films will take this home. You have the power to vote. Go to tiff.net/vote to do so, and we would like to thank Elevation Pictures, Neon, AGBO, 30 West, Bloom, for providing us with this film. Give it up for them right now. I also want to remind everybody, we've been enjoying some amazing films this week. There are still more to come. Tomorrow night, The Standoff at Sparrow Creek. Please come check this movie out. I pitched it yesterday as if you were in Sundance in 1992 and missed the Reservoir Dogs, that's how you were going to feel if you missed this movie tomorrow night. It is an amazing hard-boiled crime film with an incredible cast. Definitely come check that one out. I also want to give a shout-out to our closing night film, Diamantino. Diamantino is an insane, wild movie. It's got some of the most crazy hallucinogenic images you've ever seen before. It's shot in Super 16mm. It's one of my favorite films in the festival. I'm so excited about it, so please come check that out. But tonight we're going to see some red. We're going to see a lot of red. We're going to see a lot of blood. I'm all red. We're going to be watching Assassination Nation! Because it is a scary world, and it is a scary world to be online, and we've all learned a lot about that over the past few years. When this movie was made, I feel like they probably didn't realize how true and prophetic this movie actually is becoming and what is our reality. It is truly a horror film for our times. And we are going to meet the team behind this film, the filmmakers. Please give it up to Sam Levinson! And with him, from the cast, Coleman Domingo! Suki Waterhouse! Abra! Odessa Young! And Hari Neff! We got a lot of...
I heard you guys were the best fucking audience. This is amazing.
Yeah, it's on.
Oh, it is. Okay. I was saying, I heard you guys are the best fucking audience. Everyone's been telling me that. Just a few things. Thank you for having. Us. Thank you for having our film here. Thank you. It's an emotional moment, you know.
Yeah. You got it. You got it, brother. You got it.
Yeah. I started writing this movie 5 days before my wife gave birth to our first child, which, as you watch it, you may find utterly fucking disturbing. I don't know. But I think I was responding to, you know, a very specific fear. And I was raising a child in a world that I felt was outwardly celebrating violence and mob rule and aggression. And that was, and that scared the shit out of me. And this script just poured out of me. And I sent it to a few people, the first being Kevin Turin, my producer. I love him. He's the best creative producer in the business. He read it. He understood it. And we started sending it around, and not a whole lot of people got it. They thought it was fucking weird. It was too much. It was too edgy. It was too bizarre. And little by little, we started to put together the puzzle pieces and get this film up and going. We shot this over 18 months ago. I assembled the most beautiful cast I could ever dream of. They are extraordinary, and I think you know, I think every step of the way, and this is from across the board, we dared each other to be more courageous and bold, whether it was, you know, who we cast, the way it was shot, the lighting, the design, the characters, the story, the structure, because what we wanted was to create a world that in some way felt like it mirrored the kind of emotional volatility of the internet. And you may find it shocking, you may find it violent, you may find it absurd, funny, heartbreaking. The strange thing is I wrote it initially kind of as a satire, and then by the time I locked picture, it was kind of close to reality. But at the end of the day, it's a love story. It's a love story between these 4 girls who have each other's back till the very fucking end and are trying to navigate an increasingly chaotic and confusing and fucked up world. And thank you to everyone who believed in it from the beginning. I'm so happy to be here, and thank you to my beautiful cast, my producers. Thank you to Kevin Turner. Thank you to my wife, Ashley. Woo! I owe you a lot. And thank you to Neon and Agbo and Braun and everyone who believed in this. And thank you for having me. I hope you enjoy this fucking movie. It's totally nuts. Do me a favor. If you like it, if it ignites something inside of you, if you love it, fucking tweet about it, post about it, talk about it, get people to go to the theaters. We open in 10 days. It would mean the world to us. Thank you.
Woo! Rum! Put your hands together for Sam Levinson! And let's bring out the cast! Abra! Coleman Domingo!
Abra!
Odessa Young! Ari Neff! Coleman Domingo! Well, you guys certainly know how to put on a show.
You guys weren't lying about this being the best fucking crowd ever, man. Holy shit. From the bottom of my heart, thank you.
Sam, how did you find this cast? This is such a fantastic cast.
I mean, I had 2 incredible casting directors on it, Mary Vernew and Jess Kelly. By the way, Adam Lieber, thank you for the Miley song. Mad respect. I love you, brother. But we had two incredible casting directors on it, and it was a long, kind of intensive search. And I knew I had to find Lily first. And it's funny, I had Odessa's name written down in my notes just because I loved her name so much, and I couldn't get a hold of her. I had reached out to someone. I couldn't, and it was like months had gone by, and I had read a bunch of other people, and finally I met. I Skyped with Odessa. I remember opening up the Skype, and she was like sitting in her bedroom in front of a giant American flag, and I went, "Oh shit!" And then from that point on, I remember with Abra, I'd seen this Fact magazine doc that was like 5 minutes long, where Abra was like just kind of wandering around like London, talking about growing up here and this, and playing music and being in the studio, and I was like. She's like fucking electric, and she has this energy that's so infectious. And the same thing, it was. And then with Suki, it was the same thing where, there was just this kind of this warmth she radiated, and it's all. And then Hari, I remember you came in the day after the election for an audition, and we sat down and you read, and I thought to myself, just don't make decisions in the room. Don't make decisions in the room. Please just think about it. And but it was so fucking powerful. I walked home. I wrote my producers an email. I said, "This is it. We found Bex," and it just went from there. And with Coleman, I never thought of anyone else. I met Coleman at Sundance a couple years earlier, and I just knew he has such character and such heart, and you can see it in his face, even if he doesn't say a fucking word. And I needed someone with just that kind of internal generosity and beauty. And so I called him up. I sent him the script. He read it that night, and he was like, "I'm in." I was like, "Fucking, this is fantastic." So.
Coleman, you've got such a powerful scene when you're confronting the PTA, basically, and the school population. What was that shooting that sequence like, where you really have to fight against a crowd that is just being absolutely awful towards you?
It started out as on the page, it was pretty well drawn, and we thought it was something that was pretty simple. That I was going to try to plead my case and speak some truth to these people who know me. And we've known each other. I know the children, they know my wife, et cetera, and trying to talk sense to them. But then as we kept doing it, we just knew we would collaborate off to the side. I think the crowd needs to get wilder and wilder and wilder, and it's got to get vitriolic. And these people who you thought were your friends and your family, they start to really turn on you. Just like, and then Sam got out there, and you were rallying them up, and he was out there screaming, and then suddenly we were like, they should be saying, lock him up, because that was what people were saying, as we all know. And so it was something, this group of background actors,
yeah.
I don't know what it was, but they tapped into something.
Yeah.
And when I tell you there was flying froth and spit, and people were shaking, and then we were hugging each other because it was coming out of the collective consciousness that this was the truths of it, of what we were all dealing with and what we were enraged about. So it turned into that, and so we just let that dance happen. Am I right,
yeah.
Sam?
No, it used to be a full scene, and then we thought, well, wouldn't it be more interesting if instead of him finishing, they just fucking drown him out? Yeah. Isn't that what would really happen? Mm-hmm. But it is surprisingly easy to turn a group of extras into a fucking crazy mob really quickly.
They went for it.
Yeah.
To the rest of the cast, what were going through your heads when you were confronted with the screenplay and what you were going to have to take on?
Well, when I first read it, I thought, wow, this is fucking nuts. And I thought to myself, if I go out for this and I get it, if it's really good, it could launch my career. If it's really bad, it could end it forever. But I met Sam, and I decided to take a risk, and I'm really glad I did.
I just remember being really confused within the first 15 pages because I was expecting it to be a complete satire that was making fun of and judging and ridiculing and discrediting teenage girls. And then 15 pages in, I was like, where's the asshole writing the script? And then it was such a pleasant surprise from that point on that this is one of the first movies that I've read about teenagers that didn't judge its characters.
I'm here for the party. I'm with the crazy shit. I saw it and I was like, yes, I'm all about it. So.
Now, Sam, you mentioned that you began as a satire and now it feels like reality. Were you to start writing today, how would it have changed? How would the story perhaps have changed, or would things start at an even higher level, or would they go to even higher level than heightened level than they do?
I don't know. It's a weird thing. It's I mean, we made this movie 18 months ago, so it's strange watching it now, and it'd be impossible for me to answer that. Only just from my own personal, weird stuff. I mean, if I were to start writing it now, I would just be like, oh, fuck it, let's just make the whole thing the home invasion sequence, and like, fuck all the other shit. You know what I mean? Like, I go down a. It was right for the moment, and I'm really, really proud of the film that we all made, and I can't really imagine it any differently,
Now, speaking of that home invasion sequence, that is an outstanding sequence. Can you talk a little bit about what was involved in constructing the sequence and even inspiring the idea to photograph it that way?
Yeah, I mean, it originally was written as a house fire, and we didn't have the money to shoot a house fire, unfortunately. Well, at least with real fire, and I wanted real fire. I didn't want VFX fire. So I went all over Louisiana trying to find a house to light on fire. That would also be a house we shoot in. And I just knew it wasn't going to happen. So our production designer, Michael Gracie, we had found this amazing house. And he built a 3D model of it. And Marcel Rev, our cinematographer, who is my brother and collaborator, and I mean, his work is fucking astounding. And I love him to death. But we sat in a room for 6 weeks, and we looked at this fucking model of this house. We went through every possible reference we can think of, from like Tenebrae to Angst to Black Christmas to Halloween, and we were going, how can we shoot like a scene, an invasion sequence that we haven't really sort of seen before, and that in some ways mirrors, I think, this feeling of the internet, and that there's always a back door, there's always something that you forgot, and there's always a way in. And we went to the house. We started shooting with iPhones. We started shooting it with, we'd have, our key grip wandering around from room to room. And, I mean, we rehearsed it for about 6 weeks straight, and then we shot it in 10 hours.
Amazing. Give it up. Do we have questions from the audience? Questions right there. Were you using real bullets?
And real blood.
But I mean, I guess a good question might be just, what was it like to handle all that ammunition?
Yeah, I mean, it was all practical weapons. There's no VFX, stuff. It just, I don't know. There's something about it in terms of just the feeling of it, in terms of the performance, in terms of being on set, knowing that you've got squibs and guns. It changes things, and it gives it a reality that you can't get from just adding flashes into things. So we try to do everything practically.
Right there?
Why didn't Lily get to get revenge on her jackass boyfriend?
What?
Oh, I'm asking you too.
Well, these are the things in life where it's just sometimes a shitty guy comes in and then disappears, and that's that.
We didn't want to give him the energy.
Yeah. I know, but it's also,
the movie continues past the movie too, I'm sure.
He's got a whole other clown movie. He's fine. He doesn't need another frame on him in this one.
Yeah. He goes on to torture children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Duh.
There was a hand over there as well. Yes, right there.
Did you have
Did you ever feel like there was a tension between going too far?
I mean, yeah. Yeah. I mean, the first cut of this movie was, almost 4 hours long, and I think in every sort of scene, it's hard to know where the line is, and it's hard to know where the line is in its totality. And so I cut this movie for about 8.5, 9 months, and I remember I only had one screening of this movie after I'd edited it for about 6 months. I take it, and I was in New York, and I go out to Los Angeles, and I show about like 12 people. And I'm sitting in the back of this audience, and I'm with Kevin, and the movie's playing. I'm going, Kevin, how do you think it's playing? And he's going, that's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's going really well. I'm like, I don't think it's going really well. No, trust me, it's fantastic. It's fantastic. I'm sitting there shaking. Literally, the screening ends. Everyone goes, oh yeah, great work, and they will kind of walk away. And then I get a phone call from Kevin like 10 minutes later. He goes, I mean, everyone fucking hated it. I mean, it was a horrible screening. It was just horrific. And it was like they found it. And it was true because for a while, I lost it, and it became more nihilistic. It became darker. It became angrier in a way. It had lost its playfulness, its humor. I think that was one of the toughest things, is just finding that balance. And I mean, this fucking edit humbled me. It was hard. And it's a testament to, like, my producers and my wife and the people around me who I love and trust. Even my mother. My mother was like, I don't want you in this fucking house. Like, when I would go visit, she almost kicked me out of her apartment when I showed her a cut. Like, I crossed a lot of lines, and then I pulled it back, and,
Yes, right there.
He didn't read the script.
He did not read the script. Oh, we have time for one more question, unless you have more to say to that.
No, I didn't want to steal that answer. I'm sorry.
That was such a funny answer. I really liked him. I like talking to him. I like him as an actor, and he's fucking frightening in this.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, you do.
Go for it.
We'll do two more. You're the last one, but over there, yes. Yeah. Oh.
Oh. Marty Colker.
Oh, Moten Colker. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
The hacker.
There you go.
Supposed hacker.
Thank you for making a film about badass teenage girls. And question? Good. Thank you.
I just want to ask if there's anything in particular that inspired you to, like, any experience with any teenage girls or anything, or did you just think you were underestimated?
Sam, have teenage girls inspired you?
Well, no, but I think about it. No, well, a couple of things about that, which is one. When I was a teenager, I was a really angry teenager, and I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what box to fit into, whether it was like, the clothes I wore, the person I was. I struggled a lot with anxiety and depression, various things, and pretty serious drug addiction. And, I ended up kind of getting my life together, and I've been clean for like 13 years, so if anyone wants to hire me, I'm hireable. But that aside, I was angry, and I was thinking about that anger, and I thought, well, if I'm writing this movie today, and if I'm writing about myself, which I normally am, who is that? Who is that version of myself? And that version of myself is a teenage girl. Because a teenage girl has got a lot of fucking shit to be angry about today. And so I kind of approached it from that perspective. And at the same time, there's no one on the planet that is more inventive with language than teenagers, and especially teenage girls. And what's interesting about it is, like, if you want to know what a teenager's experience is, if you want to know what anyone's experience is that doesn't share the same background or, identity or ethnicity or whatever it may be, go online. They'll fucking tell you everything. They'll write think pieces about how they feel about life and everything. And so it's like every diary in the world went public. And so there's more access than ever to look at the world from someone else's perspective. And that, I think, that was a really big, it was a big help. And then at a certain point in time, I rely on my cast, and I rely on my cast to say, you know what, this feels like bullshit. And I do a pass based on the character, based on their life experience, and write it into the character, because as soon as you move that character a little closer to who that actor is, it becomes more authentic and more real and more honest. And I don't know, that's my kind of long-winded answer for that. But.
Put your hands together for Assassination Nation!
Thank you. Please talk about it, tweet it, share it, support it, anything you can do.
Vote for it,
We would
too.
appreciate it, and vote for it.
Yeah.
And thank you for a beautiful screening.